Imagine checking your work email and discovering your entire future was just stolen by the person who gave you life. That 6F-figure bank transfer notification wasn't a bonus or a mistake. It was proof that my own mother had sold the one thing my grandmother promised would always protect me, then handed the cash to my brother so he could sip cocktails in Bali while I sat there realizing I'd been erased from my own family's priorities. The beach house my grandmother spent decades paying off, the place where she taught me to stand on my own, gone in a single transaction I never authorized. And when I confronted them, my brother laughed and my mother told me I didn't need it because I had a job. This is the story of how I stopped being the family doormat and started fighting back with the only language they finally understood. The alert came through while I was staring at spreadsheets that suddenly felt meaningless. Account activity, large transfer, property sale proceeds. My hands went numb as I opened the attachment and saw the closing documents with my grandmother's address typed across the top. Sale finalized, funds dispersed, my name nowhere on the signature pages. For a second, my brain tried to make it make sense, tried to find the explanation that would mean my family hadn't just gutted me. But the sold sign I'd seen in my mom's neighborhood that morning suddenly clicked into place with this notification, and my stomach dropped 6 floors. I didn't clock out, didn't tell my manager where I was going. I just grabbed my keys and drove straight to the house where I'd spent half my childhood being told to share more, give more, understand more. Turns out I'd been understanding myself right out of my own inheritance. Ethan opened the door with his phone in one hand and some tropical drink in the other, barefoot and grinning like we were about to celebrate something together. He started showing me photos before I could even get words out. Infinity pools, first-class seats with those fancy headphones, sunset shots with his shirt off and that stupid filtered glow that screamed expensive resort. Bali was unreal, he said, scrolling faster. I needed that reset so bad. This year's been brutal. I pushed past him into the living room that still smelled like her vanilla candles and asked the only question that mattered. Did Mom tell you where that money came from? He shrugged like I'd asked about the weather. Family money. You don't even go to the coast anymore. You've got your downtown apartment and your spreadsheets and your whole corporate thing going on. I'm drowning over here. I actually needed this. If you want the full truth about what families will do when they think you're too successful to need protection, hit like so this story reaches more people who have been erased the same way. The garage door opened and my mother walked in still wearing her real estate blazer, flyers in hand, phone wedged against her ear. She saw me and froze mid-sentence before hanging up without explanation. Nora, honey, what are you doing here in the middle of a workday? She asked, and I didn't waste time with pleasantries. You sold Grandma Maggie's house. I got the transfer alert. I saw the closing docs. My signature is nowhere. She sighed like I was a difficult client throwing a tantrum over staging choices. Nobody did anything to hurt you. Your grandmother left that place so this family would be okay, and you're already okay. You work in tech, you've got savings. You're not maxing out credit cards just to keep food on the table. Your brother's been in a bad place, burned out, depressed, working nights and still sinking. I'm thousands deep in debt from trying to keep him afloat and this house running. The beach house was just sitting there collecting dust while you never visit. Grandma would have wanted us to use it to help him. By selling it without telling me, I said, and the words came out colder than I expected. By forging my consent. You didn't even call. My mother's eyes rolled just slightly, that micro-expression I'd seen 1,000 times when I'd asked for anything that inconvenienced her plans. I didn't forge anything. I used the power of attorney I already had from when your grandmother was sick, and I handled everything for her. I still had those papers, so I signed as her agent and moved the funds. It's all legal, Nora. It's family. I thought you'd understand once you calmed down. That cold feeling in my chest spread like frost across glass. That power of attorney ended when Ed, you know that, right? You can't just keep using expired legal documents like coupons that never expire. For half a second, something that looked like fear crossed her face before irritation replaced it. You're overreacting. You don't need that house. Your brother needed a break before he lost it completely. I'm drowning here. I'll pay you back. We'll figure something out over time. Ethan nodded from the couch like that settled everything. Exactly, we're family. Why are you making this weird? I looked at both of them, my mother in her business clothes and my brother in his vacation shirt still smelling like sunscreen and entitlement, and something inside me finally snapped into clarity. Every time I'd been told to take the smaller piece, accept the cheaper gift, let him have the extra help because he needs it more, all of it crashed down at once. "You didn't just sell a house," I said quietly. "You showed me exactly where I stand in this family." My mother started to respond, but I was already walking toward the door. "Where are you going?" she called after me, and I didn't look back. "To talk to someone who actually respects what Grandma left me, my lawyer." Comment justice, if you believe she deserved to fight back against family theft. I sat in my car outside that house until the engine went cold, scrolling through old emails until I found the one from Jasmine Ortiz with the subject line that suddenly felt prophetic. "If your family ever screws up your inheritance, you know who to call." We'd reconnected years ago at some networking thing, stayed in touch the way people do when they respect each other's work. She'd gone into law specializing in financial fraud. I'd gone into data analysis. Right then, I needed someone who could turn my grandmother's careful planning into paperwork that would force my mother to face consequences for the first time in her life. I hit call before the doubt could creep in. She answered on the second ring, and I told her everything in one long breath. The sale, the expired power of attorney, the Bali vacation funded by my stolen future. There was a pause where I could feel her shift from friend mode into the version of herself that made opposing lawyers nervous. "Do you have the trust documents?" she asked. "Anything your grandmother set up before she passed?" I did. Grandma Maggie kept everything in this blue binder with tabs and sticky notes and margins filled with her handwriting. "For Nora's future," she'd written on one page. "Must protect this," on another. An hour later, I was sliding into a booth across from Jasmine, that blue binder between us next to chips and salsa neither of us touched. She flipped it open, and her pen started moving across her legal pad while I explained everything again, slower this time, trying to keep my voice steady. "Here," she said finally, tapping a page in the trust documents. "Your grandmother named you sole beneficiary of the beach house and investment account after her death. That means once she passed, this trust became irrevocable. Your mom doesn't get to liquidate assets just because life got hard." She pulled out the power of attorney paperwork and pointed to a specific paragraph. "And this clearly states the authority terminates upon death. Your mom using this to sign off on a sale after your grandmother Ed, isn't just shady family drama. It's fraud. She misrepresented her authority to the title company and the buyer. She used expired documents to sell property that legally belonged to you, then redirected the proceeds for her own benefit and your brother's vacation. That's misappropriation of trust property, civil fraud at minimum, maybe criminal depending on how deep this goes." My throat tightened. So she didn't just cross an emotional line, she actually broke the law. Jasmine nodded and pulled the bank alert closer, jotting down transaction details. "The sale proceeds went into her account, not yours. That's our smoking GN. Here's what we do. We send a demand letter laying out exactly what she did, the trust terms, the expired authority, the sale, the transfer, the use of funds for non-beneficiary purposes. We give her 48 hours from receipt to either return the full amount into a separate account. We control or sign an agreement accepting liability with a concrete repayment plan secured by her assets. If she ignores it or refuses, we file a civil suit for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, conversion, whatever sticks. We ask for the house value, interest, and attorney fees. Given her debt, that could push her into bankruptcy. Type yes if you want to see what happened when the 48-hour deadline hit." I stared at my grandmother's handwriting in those margins and felt something shift. If I do this, I'm basically detonating what's left of my family. Jasmine's expression softened just slightly. "Nora, she already lit the match when she sold your house. You're just deciding whether to stand there and let it burn you or put the fire out. You don't make this decision to please anyone. You make it to honor what your grandmother wanted and protect yourself from people who have shown you they'll sacrifice your future for their comfort." I took a breath and felt the decision settle into my bones like something that had been waiting there all along. "Send the letter. 48 hours. After that, we go to court." 2 weeks later, Jasmine slid the printed demand letter across her desk before hitting send on the email version. 3 pages of calm, precise language that somehow cut deeper than screaming. It laid out everything: the trust terms, my status as sole beneficiary, the fact that death terminated my mom's authority, the sale dates and amounts, even screenshots of Ethan's vacation posts showing exactly where the money went. At the bottom in bold, recipient has 48 hours from confirmed receipt to remit full sale proceeds into the designated account or execute a signed repayment agreement secured by current assets. Failure to comply will result in immediate legal action. Once I send this, you can't unring the bell, Jasmine said quietly. I nodded. Ring it. My mom got the email first. I was at my desk the next morning when her name lit up my phone. Nora, what is this? No hello, just that high, thin voice she used when deals fell through and she needed someone to blame. I just got some ridiculous letter from your lawyer talking about fraud and lawsuits. You're threatening to drag your own mother into court. I kept my voice even. I'm asking you to return what you stole. You sold a house that wasn't yours using authority you didn't have. That's not a misunderstanding, Mom. She laughed without humor. Stole? Listen to yourself. It's family money. Your grandmother wanted that house to take care of us. I've been drowning. Do you think I enjoy being behind on bills, getting collector calls, watching your brother fall apart because he can't catch a break? So you fixed it by committing fraud, I said, by emptying the one thing she left me. She ignored that. You're fine. You have a salary, a 401k, health insurance. Your brother has nothing. I've been using credit cards to keep him afloat. That trip was supposed to clear his head so he could start fresh. Yes, I paid down some cards because I was about to lose my mind. I did what I had to for this family. And now you and some stranger in a blazer think you'll scare me with threats. She's not a stranger, she's my lawyer, I replied. And she's not threatening you, she's outlining consequences. You have 48 hours to start making this right. Share this video so more people understand what's hiding in their own families. 48 hours, my mom spat. What do you think I'm sitting on? A vault of cash? Most of the money's gone. Resorts don't refund everything, and those cards were already past due when I paid them. I can't magically give you 100-something thousand back by Friday. My chest tightened, but not from sympathy. It was like watching someone admit they'd burned your house down but expected comfort because they were cold. Then you shouldn't have spent it. I didn't force you to sell anything. You chose to. You chose him again, at my expense again. This time there are laws involved. She went quiet, then shifted tactics, voice wobbling. You're really going to do this to your own mother? Take me to court, ruin my credit, drag our name through mud, over some empty building your grandmother left sitting like a monument? I'm your family, Nora. That girl in the suit isn't. When she moves on to her next client, I'm still the one who carried you for 9 months. I'd heard that line my whole life, pulled out whenever she needed me to shut up and fall in line. This time it just made me tired. You used that building as your personal ATM. You didn't talk to me, didn't ask, just assumed I'd swallow it like always because we're family. I'm not doing that anymore. Ethan's texts started flooding in while she kept talking. Seriously, you sent Mom legal crap. You're losing it. Then another. You know the money's gone, right? It barely covered stuff anyway. I needed that trip. I scrolled past photos of infinity pools and expensive headphones that now looked like crime scene evidence instead of memories. My mom was still talking. Look, I can give you something. A few thousand next month, maybe more after I close the Parker listing. We can set up a plan. I'm not saying I won't pay you back. I'm just saying this countdown doomsday thing is insane. Cancel the lawsuit. We'll handle this like adults. Adults don't hide sales contracts, I said. The 48 hours aren't drama. They're my lawyer's way of giving you a chance before a judge gets involved. If you're serious about paying me back, talk to her, sign what she sends, put it in writing with collateral. Otherwise, we go to court. She started crying then, loud, dramatic sobs that used to tear me apart when I was younger. You're heartless. I can't believe I raised someone who'd do this to me. After everything I've sacrificed, this is how you repay me. I closed my eyes and felt the old guilt rise then fade. You didn't raise me alone. Grandma did a lot of the heavy lifting. She's the one who left me something, and I'm finally acting like it matters. If you want to fix this, call Jasmine. If not, I'll see you in court. I hung up before she could answer. More texts from Ethan rolled in, jokes and insults and half-hearted guilt trips. I set the phone face down and looked at that blue binder still on my desk, my grandmother's handwriting peeking out. For the first time since this started, I let myself see my mom not as a victim of circumstances, but as an adult who'd made choice after choice until she ended up here. She'd decided my brother's vacation mattered more than my inheritance. Now she was about to learn what it felt like when someone finally said no. If this shocked you, comment betrayed below. The 48 hours passed without a call from Jasmine saying my mom had complied, so I called her instead. She picked up with a sigh. She had another lawyer look at the letter. He replied that your mother disputes any wrongdoing and believes the sale was within her authority as your grandmother's agent. No offer, no repayment, nothing. I stared out my window at the rain. So she's doubling down. Jasmine's voice hardened. She is, which means we're done asking nicely. Next step is filing the lawsuit. Once we do, she'll have deadlines she can't guilt trip or ignore. My stomach turned, but under it was something solid, something that felt like my grandmother's hand on my shoulder. File it! Fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, all of it. I want the court to see exactly what she did. Within a week, the complaint was filed. Jasmine had built it like a fortress, every document cited, every transaction traced, every lie exposed in black and white. My mother and brother were named defendants. The prayer for relief asked for the full value of the house plus interest, attorney fees, and punitive damages for willful misconduct. When the process server handed her the papers, she called me screaming. You actually did it. You're suing your own mother. Do you have any idea what you've done to this family? I kept my voice calm. I'm protecting what Grandma left me. You're the one who broke this family when you forged documents and stole my inheritance. She hung up. Discovery started and Jasmine subpoenaed everything. Bank records showing exactly where the money went, emails between my mom and the title company where she'd represented herself as having authority she didn't possess, text messages between her and Ethan planning the vacation before the sale even closed. The evidence piled up like kindling. My brother tried calling once, his voice shaky. Mom's falling apart. Her credit's tanked. She can't close deals because people are talking. She might lose the house. Is this really worth it? I thought about the beach house my grandmother had paid off with decades of teacher salary paychecks. The place she'd promised would always be my safety net. She made her choices, I said. Now she gets to live with them, just like I've had to live with always coming second to you. He hung up. The settlement conference happened on a gray Tuesday in a courthouse conference room that smelled like old coffee and broken families. My mom sat across from me looking smaller than I'd ever seen her, her lawyer beside her reviewing paperwork with tight lips. Jasmine laid out the terms. Full restitution of the sale proceeds, a lien on my mother's house to secure payment, structured repayment over 5 years, and my mom's written admission that she'd used expired authority to complete the sale. If we go to trial, you'll lose, Jasmine said calmly. The evidence is overwhelming. The judge will award everything we're asking for plus more, and you'll face potential criminal referral for fraud. This is your last chance to control the damage. My mother looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. I'm your mother, Nora. Doesn't that mean anything? I met her gaze without flinching. You're also the person who stole my grandmother's gift to me and gave it to my brother for a vacation. Doesn't that mean anything? She signed the papers. The lien was recorded. The payment plan started. My brother stopped speaking to me entirely. Extended family took sides, most of them hers because that's how these things go. But when the first payment hit my account, I opened my laptop and searched for beach houses near where my grandmother's had been. Not to replace what was stolen, nothing could do that. But to build something new with the restitution I'd fought for, something that would honor the woman who'd taught me that standing up for yourself isn't cruelty, it's survival. If you believe in protecting what was meant for you, hit like. Comment what you would have done in my place. And subscribe because these stories don't get told enough, the ones where the scapegoat finally stops accepting crumbs and demands the whole inheritance they were promised. My grandmother left me more than a house. She left me proof that I mattered, and I wasn't going to let anyone take that from me ever again.